Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Dave again. So I know we're seeing ammo supplies come back online. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check out my video, Who Wants Ammo? But as we see ammo come back online, I'm seeing a lot of you guys and I'm hearing a lot of you guys talk about the prices of ammo, and you're not really considering the shortage being over until ammo goes back down to the price where it was. Well, I don't think that we're going to see ammo go back down to the price where it was pre. So let's go over the reasons for that and we'll get into it now. All right, let's get into why I don't think ammo prices are going back down. So I know you guys are pretty astute. You guys keep up on this news. We got a lot of really well-educated viewers on this channel, which I highly appreciate. You guys keep me on my toes. But Winchester and Vista both came out with letters announcing price increases. So if we take and we look at these, so this is the letter from Winchester. So in this one, you can see it up here, Winchester Ammunition came out March 22nd of 2021. In it, he outlines a few of the, he being Matt Campbell, Vice President, Sales and Marketing of Winchester. So he outlines a couple price increases that are coming down the pipe beginning May 1, which we just had. Today's May 3rd, day of filming. So 2 days ago, these prices went in, and they're retroactive on back orders. So if you already have your order in and it hasn't shipped yet, you're getting these new prices. You're not getting the old prices. So it's not like, hey, I got it in and I'm locked in. No, you're getting the new ones. So we can see that down here. All existing orders and future orders shipped on or after May 21. So basically shot shells 5 to 12%, 22 Magnum up to 15%. You can read these here. This is the big one I think that's really going to get a lot of people. This primers are going up 25%, and they're not taking any new orders because back orders are so bad. So you guys waiting for primers, I think you might be in trouble. It seems like they're trying to force you into, whole ammo. At least that's where their focus is right now. I'm sure once things start to slow down, we'll see some of this change. But yeah, if you're holding out for primers, I think you're in trouble. All right, so if we look at the Vista letter, so basically Vista covers Federal, CCI, Spear, and Remington these days, with Jason Vanderbrink being the CEO there, president, if you will. So he's the one that wrote this letter. And you can come up to this International Sportsman and read it. And I'll link all these websites down in the description. So if you guys want to follow through and see where all this nonsense came from. But they went ahead and they announced a hike. So you can sort of see that letter here, anywhere between 3 and 15% coming out of these guys. He cites a bunch of reasons, so at least he gives some reasons. So if we come in here, during this year, we have seen significant increases in raw material prices such as copper, zinc, and lead. And we'll get into sort of what he's talking about there in a minute. But before we do that, I want to dive into this next line that he puts out here, and I'm gonna show you guys sort of what that looks like. So additionally, we have seen increases in labor and healthcare that have exceeded our projections as has affected all of us. So I'm not going to say those words because YouTube doesn't like them. Basically, if we come over and we look at Vista's main site, this is a posting they have at the Remington factory that I highlighted in the Who Wants Ammo video. So basically, this is just a machine operator, and they're making anywhere between $17.53 and $19.22 an hour. Now, we're seeing wage inflation everywhere. Like, go anywhere and there's a help wanted sign, hiring. Nobody can get enough help, and it's driving up wages. These guys are no exception. So if we take and we average this out, and then we multiply it by 2080, we get $18.38 an hour, and that's before any benefits, taxes, any of that kind of stuff. So each machine operator is making roughly 38K, a little over, which really starts to add up, especially as they have to hire more and it starts to push up towards that 1922 mark, And if you go to the Vista website, they've got pages of people that they're looking to hire. So, all that's just driving up wages, driving up base costs on this. He also cites that benefits are going up. So if we get in and we look at benefits, we come over here to the Delaware Business Times, we can see that they project that 8 to 11% increase for 2019 and 2020. And then getting into 2021 and 2022, we're looking somewhere between 11 and 15%. So you're going to continue to see costs increase on these manufacturers to get ammo made, which will just continue to drive the price of bullets. There's just no way around that. These are just inherent costs that they have to have. So, he gets in and he cites some of these other things: copper, zinc, and lead. So let's take a look at copper first. Couple things going on with copper. Last year we saw tariffs increase on imported copper from China. So we saw those go up to 25%. I'll link this article down in the description too. Now, luckily for the U.S., not all of our copper has to come from overseas. We have several large mines in Arizona, which is awesome. So for those that don't know, copper and zinc are major components in brass. Brass is a major component in ammo. So luckily the mine in Arizona, let me give you the action. So the Morosini mine in Greenlee County, Arizona there, produces a large majority of U.S. copper. So we get shielded from some of these tariffs that we see here on this particular page. So we're not subject to those. If we go and we look at the spot price of copper, so in a lot of metals, so if you think gold, lead, copper, for example, so they have spot prices. So basically that's the price that it trades in the market. Some are broken down by ton, some are broken down by pound, whatever. I've tried to multiply them all out to make them by ton so that we have a semi-like for like. But in this chart, unfortunately, it's done in per pound. So you can see sort of over time how it runs. So back in May of 2019, it was $2.70 a pound. So I'll multiply that out for you. If we multiply that out by 2,000 pounds, it comes out to $5,400 a ton. If we look today, we're looking at $4.34 a pound. So if we multiply that by 2,000, we get $8,680 a ton, or roughly 60.7% more for copper. So if you're looking at your casings, this is a large percentage of where your increased cost is coming from. So now we've got a huge hike in wages and benefits. So our labor costs are up. Our raw material costs are now up 60% on one of our key components. If we take and we look at lead, which is going to be far and away our biggest input costs, the price of the actual bullet itself, not the casing and the powder and the primer, those are relatively inexpensive compared to the lead. So if we look at the spot price of lead, we can see here today, on the April 30th, so Friday, the spot price of lead was $2,117 a ton, which, is like a little over $1 something a pound, which doesn't sound that bad until you look back in May of 2019, and the price was $1,791 a ton, or roughly 18% cheaper than it is now. So now our largest input cost has gone up 18%. One of our second largest input costs has gone up 60%. And if we just look at benefits, they're on pace for, let's call it an 11% increase for wages. And that doesn't count salary, taxes, any of that kind of stuff. That's just the benefit component of that. So we're seeing prices skyrocket all over the place for these input costs. It doesn't surprise me that ammo is going up. I'm actually surprised it's as cheap as it is, to be honest with you. So our third component that he referenced in the letter was zinc. Now, zinc really hasn't seen that big of an increase, so we're not going to run through the spot price of this one. I'll link it down in the description. So just to give you a rough idea, so in May of 2019, spot price of zinc was $27.42. Today it's $27.91, and that only works out to roughly about a 1.7% increase. So not a huge increase in zinc, just a large increase in copper and in lead and in labor, which is really, really adding up. So fun fact on lead. So as we look at the spot price of lead there, so fun fact on lead, basically ammunition doesn't come from new lead, newly mined ore that gets smelted. So there's two ways ore gets smelted, if you will. So there's primary smelting and then there's secondary smelting, which I think secondary smelting in my research, best I could figure out, just basically means recycling. Most, if not all, ammo actually comes from secondary smelting. So most of your ammo comes from uh, batteries, vehicle batteries, or think large municipality batteries. So like hospital backup generator batteries, telecommunication backup batteries. So that type of stuff. That's where your ammo comes from. Your primary lead goes into those batteries as an input cost, sort of out on the front side. So we just take and recycle and make ammo. All right, cool, simple enough, which is great because that helps drive down ammo prices because you're paying scrap prices for them. You're not paying new prices for them. So you're not paying that spot price. You're paying a significantly cheaper price. But you have to understand that as replacement lead costs go up, your scrap prices are going to go up too. So if we look at this letter here, the reason I bring up smelters and talk about all that kind of stuff. So a couple things. So a couple years ago, and I hear a lot of people talk about this. They're like, there's no smelters left in the U.S. We can't make any lead. That's actually not true, and that's not how it works. So this Doe Run plant, it's in Missouri, is actually the plant that started that. I don't want to call it an urban myth, maybe a misguidance. I don't know how you want to refer to it. I'm open anyway around. But basically, this Doe Run plant, it's in Missouri. So this plant closed because basically they were polluting everything. I mean, shocker, lead smelters, kind of a environmental hazard. Fair enough, they were running afoul. So they shut this smelter down. Well, that caused Rep. Alan West of South Florida to say that gun control's rampant and that they're trying to get rid of guns through this backup process. It's actually not how that played out. And ammo doesn't actually come from that type of process anyway. Batteries, like we just recapped, do. So if you go ahead and you look, not really that big a deal, not really true. So this Doe Run plant actually has a secondary smelter where they can run through and make the ammo. So it's still running. I have a link to their website down in the description. You can read about it a little bit. They're actually hiring. They have some jobs posted if you want to do that type of work. But I just thought I'd share. So for the guys out there that are going to be like, well, we don't have a smelter, we can't make our own lead. That's actually not true. We have secondary smelters. And last I checked, so 2011, there were still 11 secondary smelters in the country. So that's a little fun fact for you guys. Sad fact, back in 91, there were 53 secondary smelters. So they are definitely going the way of the dinosaur, and they are going away. I suspect as each one comes off, it's much like gasoline. So once refineries go away, we'll start to see an increase in price because there's just less supply and less availability to sort of refine it into what we need. There'll be enough raw materials in the batteries and everything else that are here, especially with EVs coming on the market. Now, some of them are lithium, so they may not work, but there's still a large majority, especially in heavy applications, that we'll still see enough lead. But anyway, I digress. So there's enough lead. There's plenty of lead in the country. We have years worth of lead. If we were to have a war and we needed to make ammo, there's enough lead within the country that we don't need to worry about importing and pulling it in. And these secondary smelters can go ahead and turn that into ammo. Well, really, they turn it into ingots. Ingots go to the, like, let's say Remington. That's what you see in there. That's the 44 million pounds of lead that Remington needs to get. So they'll go to someone like this Doe Run plant and get lead ingots from those guys and then make that into ammo. Anyway, anyway, this is a long rambling, lots of facts and just nonsense going on in here. But all in all, I don't think we're going to see prices go down. These input costs are too high. You know, labor doesn't ever go down. Wages aren't going to go down. You know, the only way you're going to see labor go down is if you see increases in technology. I'm a huge deflation guy. I think you will see more automation, especially when it comes to this type of stuff, especially as wages go up. I always cringe when I see people ask for more money. Yes, I think people should make more money, but in the end, I think it just drives down jobs. We'll see it in manufacturing, and it'll push out and push through where, you know, if we're going to see a decrease on the labor side of this, it's going to have to be at the expense of jobs. So people will lose jobs. So if you want cheaper ammo, people are going to have to lose jobs to get it. And then if you want cheaper ammo, on the input side, as far as copper, lead, zinc, you know, we're going to need to see a downturn in the economy. So now you have to root for the economy to sort of go down. You know, you're going to have to see a slowdown in housing, a slowdown in the technology space where you don't see EVs and that kind of stuff coming along. You know, we just won't be able to see the rampant growth that leads to more wages, that leads to more inflation, that leads to things costing more. So this is the problem with the tail wagging the dog on inflation, and that's the thing that's driving up the prices of ammo. You know, your input costs go up, your labor goes up, your prices go up. It's just, a lot of us are younger. there's a fair amount of us on this channel that haven't seen real inflation. We haven't really seen a lot of it since the 80s. This is what inflation looks like. Things just start to cost more. The days of super cheap ammo are over. Let's hope it gets cheaper than it is, especially as this supply starts to come in. We're seeing the supply. I'm seeing ammo on my shelves. I'm seeing Remington ammo. I'm seeing all calibers coming through, and I'm seeing it come down in price. But I don't think it's going to go back to the prices we saw back in the day. And the guys holding out, rooting out for that, I think you're going to be disappointed. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. I miss cheap ammo too. We're going to find a new normal. It's going to balance out somewhere, but it's not going to be what it was. I'm sure you guys will disagree with me. I'm sure I'll get a lot of angry words. I encourage you to go look at the materials I put down here, the resources. At the very least, we're going to see price increases coming from the manufacturers. So factor that into your new price normal. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.